Hey, what's going on, Z Nation? Zaid here, ZSPN. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Lakers as it concerns trade rumors and trade options for the Lakers to do when it comes down to building this team to the potential they can be a playoff contending team after the trade deadline, which obviously the trade deadline is approaching in the next 2 weeks. So there's nothing more better for us to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers and trade rumors at this particular juncture of the season when it comes to the Lakers and the trade deadline approaching in the next 2 weeks. So I will give you all my thoughts and my opinions about certain trade options that's realistic type of scenarios. And I will be mentioning about, our future first round picks and certain players that could potentially be traded when it comes to the Lakers and, who they potentially be targeting as well. So please stay tuned for this trade options that I will give my thoughts and my opinions about. And for those of you who are watching this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and like my video and share my videos all over Facebook, Twitter, all the good social media stuff. And of course, like always, please make sure to, once again, like my page on Facebook and follow me on social media and like my video. And of course, subscribe to the channel, hit that my notification bell, excuse me, so you will know when I upload on this channel. And also I go live every single Lakers post-game show, so please make sure to show me the love, support, and tune in for my Lakers post-game analysis on every single Lakers post-game show. So please be sure to do so. I really do appreciate it. And now, without further ado, let's just get right into the Lakers trade rumors and the options that's out there that's realistic type of scenarios when it comes down to the Lakers making a move at the trade deadline. Now, first things first, obviously the Lakers already began with the season with a trade. And I believe they're the first team this season to make a trade in this NBA season so far. And that is the Lakers going after a wing player that obviously we needed, because the Lakers start off this season pretty badly when it comes to size wise, and they actually did with trading for Rui Hachimura. Obviously, there's only 2 games now. By the time I upload this video, there's only been 2 games now that we saw what Hachimura is all about, and obviously what he brings to the table is shooting and also being a defensive type of player. So obviously when it comes down to it, he still needs more experience with the Lakers and needs to understand the culture and the system of Darvin Ham. So when it comes down to it, the Lakers already began when it comes to certain trades that we obviously needed. And, obviously we need more needs. When it comes down to it, more shooters, the better. That's the number one priority that I hope the Lakers will be pursuing when it comes to certain trades that they will be pursuing at the trade deadline. So obviously shooting comes to mind when it comes down to the Lakers going after some sort of players that's out there for a trade. And when it comes down to the availability of certain players that are going to be available for trades, obviously Patrick Beverley comes to mind when it comes down to him being the likely player that could be traded at the trade deadline. And then you have obviously Russell Westbrook as well. Now, even though Russell Westbrook has been improving this season compared to his last season with the Lakers, this season he has accepted his role off the bench. He is potentially going to get Sixth Man of the Year award at the end of this season, more likely, because of how he accepted his role on the team. And the guy has been averaging triple doubles and breaking milestone and breaking his NBA histories as the first 6 man to average multiple times triple doubles as a 6 man. So obviously Russell Westbrook is going to be in demand for a potential trade, but let's keep this in mind as well. I'm really iffy about the Lakers trading Russell Westbrook at the moment, because when it comes down to other teams in any NBA team that is showing interest in Russell Westbrook, the likelihood, and obviously we'll be hearing since last offseason when it came to the trade rumors surrounding Russell Westbrook and us shipping him off, because, obviously the fit doesn't go well with the Lakers and LeBron and Russell Westbrook, and, it was just a bad fit overall. But, obviously he found his fit coming off the bench. But, regardless of that, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be asking for the Lakers when it comes to other assets being added on if they are going to accept Russell Westbrook in a trade. Now, obviously, Russell Westbrook is making around $47 million. So, obviously, lots of teams are going to look at that and say, we do not want to accept that big of a contract, an expiring contract, if you will. So, that's also a good perk as well. So, we also need to think about when it comes to the players that I'm mentioning, when it comes to Patrick Beverley, Russell Westbrook. And I'm going to mention now, Lonnie Walker is a possibility of a trade scenario that could be dealt at the trade deadline, but sort of remains to be seen at the moment. I personally keep him at like third option, if you will, for a trade option for the Lakers. But as of this moment, there's obviously all of our players are going to be available. I mean, regardless, except LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Rui Hachimura, who just got traded by the Los Angeles Lakers. So those are the players that are the likelihood of staying. And just the rest of the Lakers on this roster, they're going to be available for trades. Even if somehow even Austin Reeves is part of the conversation, which I don't really see the Lakers potentially trading him, because I think he will be part of the Lakers long term after this season. So there's a likelihood that he won't be. But if there's a team out there that the Lakers, or there's a trade out there the Lakers can't refuse, maybe he will potentially be part of the trade. So be cautious, be aware about the Lakers when it comes to any sort of trade that's out there that will help us turn this season around for the Lakers to become a playoff team. So just stay tuned for all that, guys. And, hopefully the Lakers will potentially make the right move and a smart move at the trade deadline that will benefit us in a big way. So going back to what I was saying about Russell Westbrook, he's making $47 million. So there's a likelihood that teams will be asking for assets. And obviously our assets that we have at this moment when it comes to draft capita is our future first round picks, the 2027 and the 2029 first round picks. Now, I did go live, before I uploaded this video when it came to my post game analysis, and lots of you were asking about our future first round picks. Will they be, the Lakers will trade our future first round picks? And the possible scenario is that unless there is a player of an all-star caliber player, that the Lakers will potentially dealt our 2 future first round picks. Now, I'll be pissed if somehow the Lakers trade our 2 future first round picks for a potential rotational or just a mediocre type of player. I mean, that's just nonsense when it comes down to the players that I will be mentioning when it comes to a trade target for the Lakers. But, the Lakers really need to be careful and be cautious about our future first round picks being involved in a trade scenario. You had to really get this right, because these future first round picks are potentially our future for many years to come. So whoever they trade, that particular player has to be part of the Lakers' long-term process by the time we reach 2027 and 2028 or 2029 year of the NBA. So that's the likelihood scenario that I think teams will potentially look at Russell Westbrook and say, you know what, we will take him, but throw in the future first round picks, and we will make that happen. So the Lakers at this point, Russell Westbrook is available-ish. So I don't really see the Lakers, if somehow, like, I'll get to it. I'll get to my analysis in a bit. But when it comes down to it, a lot of things on the Lakers when it comes to rosters and certain assets, they will be available. So just be cautious once the trade deadline approaches, and most teams will basically fleece the Lakers when it comes to adding our future first round picks if they want to go after some certain player that's out there that will benefit us in a big way when it comes down to shooting and just being a fit along with LeBron and this Lakers team. So just be cautious. And without further ado, guys, let's just get to my analysis about the idea of the Lakers going after certain players that will be realistic type of scenarios. Now, throughout this season, I have seen a lot of trade rumors and trade scenarios that obviously involves our future first round picks. And a couple of players comes to mind when it comes to the Lakers, when it comes to, if somehow the Lakers do decide to trade our future first round picks and, they are a caliber, all-star caliber player that will obviously fit with LeBron and also our future are part of our future for many years to come. Some players comes to mind, and that is like a player like Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal obviously comes to mind when it comes to the Lakers and them targeting him for an interest when it comes to them potentially targeting him. And I personally think our future first round picks are worthy of a player like that. And, other players that I also think about when it comes down to a caliber player like him is Damian Lillard. Those certain players, just at the top of my mind, I can't really think of any others because there's now been a lot of news about the Lakers going after some big star for our future first round picks. Mainly what I've been seeing is, players like, like a Buddy Hield and a Miles Turner type of trades, which I find it laughable when it comes to the Lakers giving up future first round picks for potential rotational players that are obviously a good fit with the Lakers, but will they be part of our future for many years to come? I don't really see that happening, especially when it comes to a player like Miles Turner, who's, obviously injured prone. He has a history of being injured, and, we're not sure about the decline of the shooting ability from Buddy Hield. So, when it comes down to it, guys, I mean, the Lakers, as I'm mentioning, I'm probably on a loop here, but the Lakers have to be cautious when it comes to our future first round picks being involved in a trade scenario. So, Rob Pelinka, just be careful. Don't get fleeced by any sort of team that's out there when it comes to any sort of trade that's out there. So that obviously benefit us and helps us turn this season around. So he just has to be cautious with that. That's why I like to bring up a certain trade scenario that the Lakers could obviously use that is kind of a realistic type of trades. Obviously, we all heard about the extension of Miles Turner with the Indiana Pacers. I see that's completely out the door. If the Lakers want to make a trade out there with the Indiana Pacers that involves a certain player and our future first round picks, just be clear here, Miles Turner will be not part of the deal because he did sign an extension. Now, the Pacers did say that he is trade available, but he's making around $60 million. So as his extension, so has a lengthy contract after this. So a lot of teams are going to be cautious about that as well. So the Lakers, they just need to make sure, when it comes to the Indiana Pacers, they just have to make sure that they do not get fleeced when it comes to a certain trade that's out there with the Indiana Pacers. Obviously, the number one player that I think the Lakers should target when it comes down to it is Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield has always been in the conversation of the Lakers for almost like 2 years now, since he's been in the conversation for a potential trade interest that the Lakers had in him in the offseason. Obviously, we're close to getting him, but we went for Russell Westbrook at the end. So at the end of the day, the Lakers missed out on the opportunity of getting Buddy Hield, but now they have another chance of going after him this time around. I believe he's making around $23 million. He's have a 2-year contract remaining, so he has an opportunity of the Lakers potentially targeting him when it comes down to a trade at the trade deadline. So I personally think he has the capabilities of being a great fit with the Lakers. Obviously, when it comes to his shooting, he shoots like 44% from the three this season. So you can just tell that this guy is a sharpshooter. He will give you a great shooting effort when it comes down to it. So the Lakers number one priority for a trade scenario at the trade deadline, they have to get a shooter. And Buddy Hield comes to mind when it comes down to it. So I personally think that the Lakers should just get him alone. And the type of trade scenario, I'm not sure if the Indiana Pacers will accept it, but if the Lakers are giving up players that are on expiring contracts, I think the Indiana Pacers will jump for that particular opportunity, and all teams are. I mean, when it comes down to it, the Lakers have a lot of advantage when it comes to trading players that are on expiring contracts. So obviously, when it comes down to a trade scenario, if I had to include, let's just say, let's see, maybe, a Patrick Beverly, throw in Lonnie Walker, and, throw in maybe a Damian Jones or maybe JTA in the trade to get potentially Buddy Hield, or maybe throw in a second-round pick if the Lakers do have some second-round picks available. Then that's a possibility that I see the Lakers making for Buddy Hield. But, just knowing the idea of the Indiana Pacers still wanting those future first-round picks, it's a likelihood scenario that maybe the Lakers will not make a trade with the Indiana Pacers. But if there's a given chance that the Indiana Pacers want to trade Buddy Hield to the Los Angeles Lakers, Rob Pelinka just needs to make sure that, those certain players will be potentially a part of the deal. Because, that's the likelihood scenario that I see the Lakers making. But you never know. Things may change. You never know. Maybe Rob Pelinka will throw in a future first-round pick, maybe one of them, to get Buddy Hield. I'm not sure about that, but, it's a likelihood scenario. So Buddy Hield comes to mind when it comes down to a likely realistic trade scenario for the Lakers to make at the trade deadline. Another trade scenario is Terry Rozier. I know what you all are saying, enough with the point guards. We have plenty enough. But at the same time, we have to really look at the prospect of what Terry Rozier could bring to the table for the Lakers. And the number one thing that he brings to the table is scoring and shooting to the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, the guy is like 6'1" to 6'2", so size is a bit differ when it comes to the Lakers' goals of getting maybe just a guard who's like 6'4" or something. So, but he is short for his height. But at the end of the day, this season so far, he's averaging 21 points a game and almost close to like 35% from the three. So he brings a lot of upside when it comes to shooting accuracy. For these past couple of games that I've seen him play, he's averaging around like 5 of 11. 4 of 3, no, not 4 of 3, 4 of 6 from the three. So he does bring shooting to the table, and I really believe that he is the right fit for the Lakers now. And I think that the likelihood scenario that he could potentially be inserted into the starting lineup. And I think another trade scenario could be that the Lakers, could include potentially, Russell Westbrook, because I know Michael Jordan is a big fan of Russell Westbrook. So the idea of him potentially trading for Russell Westbrook is a likelihood scenario. So I think that's a possibility. The Lakers will potentially throw in Russell Westbrook in the trade. And if somehow they need to make the contracts match, maybe throw in PJ Washington or maybe Kelly Oubre in a trade for potential the Lakers making a trade with the Charlotte Hornets. So just make sure, guys, that I just think that the Lakers will make that type of scenario. But you never know. Maybe Patrick Beverly could be part of a trade, just him alone, and just just in that particular scenario, and just throw in a couple of veteran minimums, and just make that type of trade scenario. So that's a likelihood scenario that I think the Lakers could potentially target. So Terry Rozier is a possibility. The third possibility, which I think it's not a likelihood scenario, but I've been hearing a lot of rumors as of late when it comes down to it. And that is the Toronto Raptors for Fred is Fred VanVleet and Gary Trent Jr. Those names have been surfacing when it comes to the Lakers and trade scenarios. Now, the reason I bring those players up is obviously there's a storyline behind this particular trade, and that is that VanVleet, he is a clutch client. Now, the Lakers have a history of signing, clutch client players to their roster because of LeBron James and obviously Rich Paul. So since then, lots of clutch clients have been joining the Lakers ever since. And Fred VanVleet is the guy that the Lakers has recently hired Rich Paul with clutch clients when it comes down to it. So obviously he comes to mind as well. And even Gary Trent Jr. is a clutch client as well. So that's another scenario when it comes down to it. But there is a downfall when it comes to the idea of the Lakers trading for those particular players. And that is, will they be part of our future? VanVleet is a guy that the Lakers have to give an extension to or a new contract at the end of the season. And recently he did turn down an extension with the Toronto Raptors. His contract was around $110 million extension. So he obviously sees his value more of a higher price. So I think the Lakers, when it comes down to cap wise, I don't think they can pull it off. And I think, at the end of the season, with the roster that they have at this moment, they only have around 30 to 33 million of cap space. So having said all that, the Lakers don't have the money to give the extension to VanVleet. So that's another scenario where I think the Lakers cannot, come to an agreement when it comes to a trade scenario with the Toronto Raptors. So, what's his name? Gary Trent Jr. He's on a really modest, contract. So obviously he will be a guy that the Lakers will potentially keep moving forward. But, he is a guy as well that also is like a 3-and-D type of player who can shoot, who can defend, and can, obviously average around like 12 to 13, maybe 15 points a game. So he's a likely scenario that I think the Lakers will potentially be targeting when it comes to another trade scenario. Just going back to the free agency at the end of the season, the Lakers obviously need the cap space as well. So they have to be very cautious when it comes to a trade that's out there that does not, basically erase what the cap space that they have. I want the Lakers to have the money, the cap space in free agency to go after some players that are potentially going to be free agents at the end of this season. That could be a great fit with LeBron, a great fit with the Lakers at the end of the season, or once we reach the free agency market. So cap space is very important for the Lakers to really be. It's very important for them to make sure that they have cap space at the end of the season once we hit free agency. So that's a number one thing that the Lakers need to be aware of when it comes down to that. So, I personally, guys, that's really the likely scenarios of trades that I see the Lakers making if they do decide to trade at the trade deadline. If they don't do a trade at the trade deadline, I see them more likely that they will see the buyout market that they will potentially look at. Now, it sort of remains to be seen who will get bought out from certain teams. But at the end of the day, if the Lakers don't make a trade at the trade deadline, there's a likelihood scenario that the buyout market will be the last resort for the Lakers to build this Lakers roster to potentially be a playoff team. Now, let's keep in mind, the Lakers do have a roster spot open. So there's a likelihood that they could potentially make a trade, but I won't be surprised if they don't and see the buyout market as another resort of adding on a player for that last roster spot. So that's the likelihood scenario that I see the Lakers doing if they don't make a trade. But if they do make a trade, I see them targeting Buddy Hield, Terry Rozier, and Van Vliet and Gary Trent Jr. Those are the likely players scenario where I see them making a trade. There's other trade options that's out there as well that I've been hearing about. The San Antonio Spurs for, I believe, Josh Richardson, and I believe there's another player that could be part of a trade scenario that the San Antonio could be interested in when it comes to having available. The Lakers showing interest in that the San Antonio Spurs could make available. And there's been a lot of talks that, the Lakers could potentially just trade with them, more likelihood. And, they could also bring a lot to the table when it comes to bringing in shooting and just some defensive ability from this Lakers team. That's a likelihood. But I just don't really see the Spurs being a trade partner for the Lakers once we hit the trade deadline. So I don't know. For some reason, I'm seeing a lot of it, but for some reason, I just don't see it happening, in my opinion. I see more likelihood that the Buddy Hield situation will potentially be back up when it comes to the Lakers showing interest in. Terry Rozier is a likelihood scenario the Lakers could potentially target. And, I just throw in Van Vliet as as a likely scenario that the Lakers could potentially look at. But it's totally unlikely because of, as I mentioned, of him just wanting a contract, and the Lakers don't have the money to give him that particular contract. So they could potentially just trade for him as a rental. That could help the Lakers be a playoff team scenario. So that's more likely that the Lakers could potentially pursue a player like him and Gary Trent Jr. as that type of scenario. So that's what I see when it comes to a trade scenario with the Toronto Raptors. There has been talks when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, DeMar DeRozan comes to mind, and Nikola Vucevic. I'm probably butchering his last name. My apologies. But those particular players could be a potential trade scenario, and there's a likelihood they will ask for our future first-round picks for those particular players. Now, are they the right fit? Not exactly. Obviously, when it comes down to DeMar DeRozan, he brings scoring to the table. That's obviously what we need when it comes to finding help for LeBron. But when it comes to the shooting and scoring effort. But, he's not a shooter. The guy is not a shooter. He averages around 30, maybe 32% from the three, which is, some of you may say that's impressive, but, that's not very impressive when it comes to the Lakers finding shooters. That's why I'm mentioning players who can shoot, like a Buddy Hield, like a Terry Rozier, those certain players, like a Fred Van Vliet or Gary Trent Jr. Those players know how to shoot. So that's the likely scenarios where I see the Lakers potentially going after those particular players. Then the Chicago trade for DeMar DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic. I am butchering his last name. I just know it. So my apologies for that. But other than that, those certain players do come to mind when it comes down to it. Now, I can't really think of any other trades. I've been hearing a lot from Kyle Lowry that the Lakers are showing interest in, but I strongly suggest the Lakers to back away from that particular trade because he's getting up there in age, and he's not the same guy anymore. And there's also the Utah Jazz trade. Obviously, there's a lot of players that I personally like. Obviously, Jordan Clarkson comes to mind, and another player comes to mind is Mike Conley, which, like I said, when it comes down to it, age does play a big role of the Lakers as well. So, Mike Conley is reaching up there in age. Same with, Kyle Lowry. And then there's also another scenario where the Lakers could potentially. So yeah, guys, I mean, the Lakers just need to be very cautious about the trade deadline. There's not going to be a lot of options that is a likelihood scenario where I see the Lakers making big trades. If anything, I see them more likely pursuing a player like a Buddy Hield. I really see that happening, and Terry Rozier type of scenario, or maybe like a Fred VanVleet and a Gary Trent Jr. type of scenario. I don't see the Lakers going after big trades like that they will get potentially fleeced from, like the Chicago Bulls, or maybe the Utah Jazz, or maybe potentially the Toronto, no, not Toronto, the Detroit Pistons, that type of scenario. So I personally think, guys, these are the likely trade scenarios. I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions about that type of analysis. And if you have any trades options out there that I will potentially be considering of, please comment down below. Give me your thoughts about a trade scenario that the Lakers could potentially do at the trade deadline. I personally think that, you know, those three players that I mentioned, those teams, is a likely scenario, is the likely scenario where I see the Lakers doing. But I won't be surprised, though, if the Lakers don't make a trade and see the buyout market as a likely target scenario. And when it comes to the players that could be available, Patrick Beverley is a likely, likely out of the Lakers. And Lonnie Walker and Russell Westbrook, as well as those are the top players, and basically players that are on a veteran minimums. I mean, even you can mention Lonnie Walker, and even players that are on a taxpayer mid-level and on a veteran minimums that could be out when it comes to the Lakers finding some help for the LeBron and the rest of the Los Angeles Lakers if they do want to turn this team around to become a playoff contending team. So that's the likelihood scenario, guys. I really want to know your thoughts and your opinions about it. I really do appreciate all the love, support you guys have shown me all across social media. And of course, on this channel, ZSPN on YouTube. Once again, hit that notification bell and subscribe to the channel so you will know when I upload on this channel. And once again, I do appreciate all of you for your love, support that you guys have shown me all across social media. And I'll see you all in the next video. And please stay tuned for my live Lakers post-game show. I do talk about the Lakers every post-game show. I've given you all my thoughts and my opinions and game analysis about the Los Angeles Lakers. So please hit that notification bell, subscribe to the channel, and join me. Join me on my Lakers live post-game shows. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you all for joining me and subscribing to the channel. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Go Lakers. Take it easy, guys. Stay safe out there.